Welcome to the new virtual orientation for the WInterlude Triathlon 2024 edition. So this event's been going on since 1984. It's the world's oldest winter triathlon, and it's celebrating 4 years this year. So come on out for the milestone event. We have a lot to get to, so let's jump to it. We'll break up this speech into kind of different sections, and it's very chronological. So we'll talk about the pre-race, the start of the race, and then the format itself this year is going to be a Le Mans start with skiing, then running, then skiing again, and then post-race. So we'll talk about all those steps in more detail starting now. But first, bib pickup. So if you want to pick up your bib, my biggest piece of advice is to get it the day before the race. So that's going to be Friday, February 2nd from 4 to 7 p.m. at the Bush Taka in Westboro. Not their Orleans, not their Hazeldean location. Make sure you go to Westboro. Doing this gives you a few perks. One, you get a chance to talk to our race crew. Two, it's a chance for you to take one thing off of your to-do list for race day. And then three, everyone that shows up gets a $25 gift card to Bush Taka for any purchase over $100. So come on over, talk to our crew, understand the new format, get some money off at your next Bush Taka purchase, and be more prepared for your race the next day. So speaking of pre-race, so on the day of the event, there's still information pre-race. So we're going to be at the Terry Fox facility. Our team will be there just before 6:30, but the gates will not open until 6:30, so don't get there too early. You can see us and meet us at the Terry Fox facility on Riverside Drive. You'll be able to park on site as well. So when you get off Riverside Drive, you'll go down the hill, kind of heading north towards Terry Fox facility at 2690 Riverside Drive. You'll park right there, and all the action is in that same parking lot. You really can't miss us. You'll see all of our purple banners and archways. You'll see the Bush Taka archway, so you'll know exactly where to go when you park. So a couple pieces of advice is to arrive early. There's about 200 athletes signed up for this race, so you can imagine everyone showing up at the same time to get their bib and their timing chip and whatnot can be quite busy. But the order of operation is just that, is to show up and park if you're driving, carpool if you can. Once that's done, you'll go and get your bib if you haven't done so already. Once that's done and you have your bib in hand, you can use that to get your timing chip. Once you have your bib and your timing chip, you can then go ahead and set up inside the transition zone. Each section of the transition zone will be marked according to bib number. So it might say, just for example, bib number 100 to 120 kind of goes here, and there'll be a section marked kind of here. So if you're bib number 112, well, that's where you're going to go. If you're bib number 150, you'll have to go a little bit further down the line until you get to your section that says, call it bib number 40 to 60. And then if you're 150, you fall in that range. So we won't have any registration available on race day. If you want to sign up, you can do so up until the evening before the race. So you can sign up online at somersault.ca, subject to availability this week. And if any spots are still available, we'll bring the extra bibs to Bush Taka, and you can sign up there in person. So there you go. So here's a quick map to orientate yourself, I guess. So here's Riverside Drive. If you're coming from the city, you'll come down, turn off, and you'll park in this parking lot right here. So this is the access road in and out. You'll come on down, you'll park. There's plenty of room here, but we do recommend carpooling. Once you're here, we will be set up on this corner right here. It's all going to look pretty white on race day. There's obviously snow on the ground, but where these kind of trees are on the corner, we'll have bib pickup, chip handout, registration, information booth will all be right there. So that's where you can see us as soon as you arrive. So you'll come on in, you'll park, you'll grab your bib if you haven't done so already, grab your timing chip, and once that's done, you'll go through these gates right here, and our transition zone is this section right here. So this white rectangle is a set of bleachers. We're behind the bleachers, between the bleachers and this green patch here. So this section inside the fence is where our transition zone will be. Same place it's been for a number of years if you've done this event before. So if you're a regular to this event, it'll feel familiar. So that's the quick layout of the pre-race itself. Inside Terry Fox facility, there's washrooms there's 2 inside, as you guys know, and if you go around, there's more over here. But facilities are on site, parking on site, and you can't miss us right when you pull in. All right, this is one of my favorite ways to start a race. I've done it before in other events like cyclocross. Highly recommend it if you haven't done it before. And if you haven't done it before, here is your chance. It's called a Le Mans start. So everyone here will be starting where the address is, so 2960 Riverside Drive, right here. You're all going to line up shoulder to shoulder in one big mass start corral. We'll do a bit of a 3, 2, 1 go, and you're going to run from here all the way to the top of the hill and back. It's a 500-meter run, and the idea there is that we want to thin out the pack so that when you guys all come back into transition zone, you're not all transitioning and changing into your skis and your boots at the same time. It kind of spreads out that transition. Okay, so I know it's a short run, but it's an uphill. If you're familiar with this area, this first, call it 175 meters, is a nice little steep uphill. Then it tapers, and you turn around, and you get a nice spicy downhill right into transition. So you'll start here, run 500 meters round trip. Once you get back, you'll go into the gate, grab your boots. You'll put your boots on immediately because there'll be snow on the ground and whatnot. You'll grab your skis and your poles, and you'll keep running until you cross the mountain line. We'll put a line on the ground right here, and this whole orange section is our corral zone where you can put your skis on and get your poles gripped up. So you get your skis and your poles on. Once that's on, you'll start on the course, and then you'll start the race itself. So this event is going to be ski, run, ski. Technically, it's a run, ski because of that small little Le Mans start, but ignoring that, this is the first leg of the race. So I'll use my cursor here. So if it's ski, run, ski, the first ski is going to be one loop, a 3-kilometer loop. So just to reiterate, you'll park here, grab your bib and whatnot, set up a transition zone. When the race starts, we start here by the green dot. You run up the hill, you run down the hill, and then you go get your skis. You put your skis and your poles on in the corral zone, and then you start the course itself. If you've ever skied at Mooney's Bay before, it's essentially the outer loop of the Mooney's Bay groom tracks. So there's grooming for skate and classic. You can do either one, but it's going to be the usual groom trails at Mooney's Bay. Nothing different or out of the ordinary for those that know the area. You'll come on in with your gear and you'll ski this loop going counterclockwise just like so, doing the whole loop here. That is your 3-kilometer ski. When you come back, you'll turn back in, take your skis and your poles off here, run to put your skis back, put your boots back, and you'll get your running gear on. So that is the first ski portion in a nutshell. So it's one loop, 3 kilometers going counterclockwise. The last piece of advice that's written here is to smile for the camera. Throughout the race, we'll have a few photographers from Finisher Pics, so they'll be there to capture all these race moments and memories. So make sure it's not all game face all day. The run. So the run will be exactly what it was planned in the past, but kind of inverse. If we were to have the skate portion, you would start at Dow's Lake and you run towards Terry Fox. Here you're starting at Terry Fox, running towards Dow's Lake. So it's 2.5K out, 2.5K back. So I'll explain it from the basics, but if you know the area, it'll all make sense pretty quickly. So you start at Terry Fox, you go onto Riverside Drive, and there's a sidewalk there. So you'll run on the sidewalk until you get to Hog's Back. You'll run on the sidewalk that's on Hog's Back. And once you cross over the falls, you go onto the bike path at Colonel By Drive. Simple as that. Then you'll take that bike path all the way to the turnaround point and back. To make life easier, we're going to have a lead cyclist. So the lead cyclist will follow the faster runners all the way out. And once they get to the turnaround point, that cyclist will stand there with the sign that says, athletes turn here. And they will then send athletes back. So once you've gotten here with the lead cyclist, we'll turn you back and you'll be on your own on the way back, heading towards Terry Fox again, retracing your steps. For the faster runners, it'll be straightforward because you'll have the lead out on the way there, and then you follow everyone that's coming the opposite direction on the way back and then retracing your steps. For everyone else, we'll have some volunteers on site. We'll have one volunteer on the corner here, making sure you actually get onto the sidewalk. One volunteer where the orange dot is, making sure that you turn from Riverside onto Hog's Back. And we'll have one volunteer where the arrow is here, making sure that you actually turn down onto the bike path and go down. Once you're on the bike path, it's only one road. There's nowhere to get lost or turned off. You just keep going down until you see the cyclist. That'll be waving you down and saying, turn here, and you'll go around the cones and you'll head on back. Simple as that. If you have a good memory or if you have a moment to write it down, the link for the route is on the bottom left there. It's ridewithgps.com/routes/ I know it sounds silly to list it out, but it's 454-638-49. So if you open that link on your browser, you can then see the route in detail. You can drag yourself around the course and see how it all lays out. As you can see from the image here, it's a 2.5K out, 2.5K back with very minimal elevation, so a nice flat course. It should be a great day for a run. Now, once you finish that run, it's time for your second ski. So you'll do 2 loops. So you go out, you'll do the exact same loop that you did the first time, only twice. So with that, I want to use my cursor here and point out a few things. So you'll come in from the run this way. You'll drop off your running shoes, put on your ski boots. Again, you'll grab your skis and your poles, and you'll come on down to this corral zone where you'll then put your skis on, you'll put your poles onto your hands, and you'll start the ski. You'll come this way, and you'll go ahead, you'll have a great ski, you'll come on around, and once you're done the first loop, you'll come here, and we'll have a volunteer right here with a big sign and a big flag saying, extra loop this way, finish this way. So if you're doing 2 loops and you get here, you'll follow the pink dots and go do a second loop. Second loop going through. Once you get here for the second time, you will then turn and do the yellow dots to the finish line. We've done it this way so that when you turn this corner, you've got a good 100 meters or 150 meters straight away from here to the finish line. So a nice little sprint to the finish. Finish line will be right here, and that is the end of your WInterlude Triathlon. But again, we'll have a volunteer right here. Just make sure you remember that it's ski, run, ski. So the first ski is 1 loop of 3 kilometers. The run is a 5 kilometer loop. And the second ski is 2 loops of 3 kilometers each. That is the summary and kind of the close notes of this year's WInterlude Triathlon. So once the race is done, the real fun begins. At the finish line, we'll have hot chocolate and all kinds of foods and snacks for you to grab. We'll do a little award ceremony once most of the field is finished. The forecast doesn't look too cold, so you're welcome to stick around for that, but it's not uncommon for people to want to get inside and get warm after the race. If you do leave bright and early or timely after the event, you can still see your results at sportstats.ca pretty much as soon as you cross the finish line. By the time you take your skis off and get to your card, the results will be all online for you to browse through. The photos that our photographers take, those will take about 48 hours to get done and listed online. So you can go to photos.somersault.ca, you can punch in your name or your bib number, and it'll pull up all the photos of you from the day. How cool is that? And just make sure before you go that you grab all the gear from the finish line in your transition zone. So if you ended up taking off a layer, let's say after the ski, and you dropped it onto the finish chute or something like that, make sure you go around and pick up all your gear so that we don't leave anything behind that we don't want to. So that's it. If you have any questions, email me ahead of time so that it's as clear as possible. My email is adam@somersault.ca. Otherwise, my highest recommendation is to come visit us at Bushtaka on Friday, February 2nd from 4 to 7 p.m. It's your chance to see us in person, ask all your questions and get all your answers and be as ready as you can for race day. But if you can't do that, we do look forward to seeing you on race day for Saturday, February 3rd. Thanks, and have a great rest of your week.